We are here on this solemn day, this sad day for our state and for our nation. My name is Raquel Teran, and I am the chair of the Arizona Democratic Party, and I'm also the state senator for Legislative District 30. And today people are angry, and very rightfully so. I can't help but to think about the people who sound or look like me, black and brown people, women who are told to calm down when we get angry. Even when we are the people who will be affected by these types of decisions. And I have a message for everyone. We will not calm down. We are feeling angry. We are feeling hurt. We're feeling betrayed, and we are allowed to feel this way when the government is more concerned about regulating our bodies than our guns. And make no mistake, today is the day Republicans have worked for decades. Today, my mind and my heart is with all the women and families that Democrats worked so hard to support and to protect, who will now suffer at the hands of the Republican Party. But we're here today because we know that this decision, this intensely personal and private decision, should be left to an individual. And I am so proud to be joined by many of my colleagues, many leaders who will not be deterred by the cruelty coming from the Republican Party and their lawmakers in DC and legislators right here at the Capitol. Today, I want to make it extremely clear that the majority of Arizonans support the right to have safe and legal abortion. We want to make it clear that the majority of Arizonans support the right to have safe and legal abortion. Recent polling shows us that an overwhelming 87% of registered Arizona voters believe abortion services should be legal. This should not be a partisan issue, and yet it is, and so here we are. But voters are with us. The vast majority of Arizonans do not want the government interfering in their health decisions. Ultimately, families will suffer and people will die because of what these Republicans aided and abated by 6 out of torch. Far-right conservative judges have done this. People will die because Republicans are hell-bent on limiting our freedoms. They will stop at nothing to ban and bully and dehumanize anyone who does not look and behave the way that they want him to. That includes Governor Ducey, who signed a 15-week abortion bill just this session. And that includes Nancy Barto, who wrote that bill. And that includes Carrie Lake and Karen Taylor Robson, who have promised to continue limiting our freedoms and access to abortion as they run to be the next governor. And that includes Blake Masters, Jim Lehman, and our own Attorney General Mark Brnovich, who would like to take their own extremist anti-abortion agenda to the House of the U.S. Senate, even setting their sight on all our federal nationwide abortion ban. But I have news for these folks. Arizonans are not with you, and they will not support your extreme agenda. They will not support your extreme agenda. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. These Republicans are not the pro-life party they claim to be. They are not the pro-life party they claim to be. They are pro-control and anti-freedom. And Arizonans want elected officials who are committed to protecting our freedoms and not tearing them down. And Arizona Democrats are ready to deliver. Arizonans are ready to elect pro-choice people. Arizonans are going to elect pro-choice Democrats up and down the ballot, and we're going to elect Julie Gunnigal to the next Maricopa County Attorney. We are going to elect Chris Mays to be our next Attorney General. We are going to send Mark Kelly back to the Senate to fight for our rights, because that's what Arizonans deserve. And we're going to elect pro-choice Democrats to the House of this state legislature, and we're going to elect a governor to the state of Arizona. And it has been a day. I know it has been a day, and it's been weeks since the leak of this actual decision. But being here, and we're surrounded by these fierce leaders in the fight for reproductive justice, I am feeling my anger and my sadness turn into productive energy. Republicans are seeing how powerful we are when our people unite and fight for their communities and have their voices heard, which is exactly why this fringe yet powerful minority continues to attack our bodies, our public schools, our healthcare system, and our democracy. And while that fringe minority tirelessly fight to control us, I'm almost in awe, because that is just how scared they are of us. And they know that when people unite around shared values that lift up communities, we are more powerful than they will ever be. That is more clear than ever as we are here, united together, not just as the Arizona Democratic Party, but as members of the Arizona community. And together, we will stop at nothing to build an Arizona that empowers people, to build an Arizona with strong, fully funded schools, and an Arizona where you can have a good paying job to support a family, and an Arizona where health care is equitable and accessible, and an Arizona where a person can access safe and legal abortion services whenever they need them. That's what we're here committed to do. And with that, our next speaker is Senator Victoria Steele, who is our whip in the Arizona Senate.
Thank you all for coming out today. We are angry. We are disgusted. The Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade. This is a very grim day across our nation. This is not just an attack on our bodily autonomy. This is an attack on our financial security, our economic futures. The government should not ever be interfering with our ability to make private health decisions. Today's SCOTUS decision is not the end. The Supreme Court is now reconsidering. Please listen to this. The Supreme Court is now reconsidering contraception, same-sex marriage, and interracial marriage. Read this opinion from the court today. Read this ruling. This battle immediately moves the fight to the legislatures across this country, but most especially here in Arizona. Make no mistake, it is now up to you, the voters, to make the next step. Do not sit this one out. You cannot sit this one out. The next step is in your hands. Thank you.
And our next speaker is Representative Jennifer Jermaine.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am State Representative Jennifer Jermaine from Legislative District 18. That is the cities of Tempe, Mesa, Chandler, and the Ahwatukee portion of Phoenix. Today's Supreme Court ruling is truly devastating for many reasons. And I stand before you as a woman whose medical records say that I've had an abortion. And they say that because under medical billing and medical coding, miscarriages are abortions. At 16 weeks pregnant, I presented at the emergency room in active miscarriage. And although my life was not in immediate danger, there was no medical intervention in this world that could have saved my pregnancy. And under Arizona's new law, Senate Bill 1164, the doctors and nurses who helped me that day could be prosecuted. My very much wanted pregnancy was not viable. And under this law, there are no exceptions for the viability of the pregnancy. There are no exceptions for rape or incest. Doctors cannot perform the medical test for viability before the gestational age of Arizona's new abortion ban. And to force families like mine with non-viable pregnancies to continue until 40 weeks, only to have their newborn die within minutes of birth, is cruel and heartless. Families like mine are the ones who no longer have the protections of Roe. They no longer have the protections to seek medical care, to make their own medical decisions, and to grieve the loss of their much wanted pregnancies. Abortion is health care, and it's a very private, very personal medical decision that government does not belong in. So thank you for being here today, and I hope that I put a little bit of a more human face on this, because it is families like mine that will suffer the most. And I would like to introduce Dr. Reverend Cathy Cardy Patterson. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Reverend Dr. Cathy Cardy Patterson, and I'm here today because I'm simply outraged at the radical decision made by the Supreme Court earlier today. People of all walks across the state, old and young, representing our full political spectrum, know that the right to decide what women do with their bodies is their right alone and should never be taken away, and especially governed by the state. I'm here to tell you that as an African American woman, it is absolutely essential to highlight that there was a time for more than 400 years that we had no control over our bodies, and we refuse to return to that state. Yet all throughout the state we have Republicans who have been on a rampage citing pro-family values and deeply held religious conviction as a justification for denying women the right to control their own bodies. But I'm here to tell you right now that I am a pro-choice faith leader in Arizona, and these two things can exist at the same time.
Yes, Reverend.
But we can't just stand here today outraged. We must take action. And we know that we have critical elections coming up. The current Attorney General turned Senate candidate Mark Brnovich has spent years and years pushing his personal anti-choice agenda on all of us. And now he's promising to bring it to Washington. But Arizonans don't want that. They want a senator who will defend their rights from being ripped away from them. Similarly, Jim Lehman and Blake Masters are also running for the Senate, promising to go, quote, on the offense. And looking beyond today's decision to limiting even more rights that govern our bodies and our privacy. Laymen and masters both cite their religion and their pro-life upbringing as reasons that they want to ban abortion, even in the case of rape and incest. So clearly, they have no respect for the reality that values women's freedom of privacy and control over their own bodies. It is critical that we not be passive at a time like this.
That's right.
We need to support candidates like Senator Mark Kelly, who will stand with us and fight every day that he is in the Senate to uphold rights. As mentioned by an earlier speaker, this decision is not limited to just abortion. By striking down long-held precedents we have regarding privacy rights, we have now opened the door to being able to make it illegal to have birth control. It will be illegal for rape victims to be able to take the morning after pill. And it may even prevent those who want to begin a family to have IVF. This is a radical decision, and we must stand with every candidate that stands with us and fight to defeat all those who don't. Thank you very much.
And our next speaker is Brittany Fonteno, President and CEO of Planned Parenthood. And I'm proud that as the Democratic Party, we're here in support not only of her, but of her organization. They're carrying the heaviest lift, which is ensuring that our communities have access to health care. So with that, please give her a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittany Fonteno, and I am the President and CEO of Planned Parenthood Arizona and Planned Parenthood Advocates of Arizona. Today, the Supreme Court has eradicated 50 years of the constitutional protected right to abortion, a fundamental right and a human right. Our patients and our supporters may be feeling many things right now: devastation, fear, anger, confusion, and I want everyone to know that I see you, I feel you, and I feel those things too. Arizona is one of the most hostile states to abortion in the country, despite the fact that the vast majority of Arizonans support the right to abortion access. We have pre-Roe bans that are currently enjoined, but are still on the books, as well as other medically unnecessary restrictions and vague laws. Shameful Republicans and anti-abortion lawmakers have planned for this day for decades, and they have done everything in their power to intentionally create chaos and confusion so that Arizonans don't know what their rights are or how to exercise them. I'll give the plane a moment to pass by. Are we good? Yes? It is a conspiracy, thank you. Let's be crystal clear. The Supreme Court has abandoned patients today, and lawmakers have created unnecessary confusion in this moment of trauma. But Planned Parenthood Arizona is not going anywhere. Not now, not ever.
Yes, that's right.
Our doors are open, and we continue to serve our patients with essential sexual and reproductive health care, inclusive sex education, and advocacy in our communities, no matter what. I do want to share that we are being forced by the Supreme Court's decision today and politicians in our state to deny patients access to essential abortion care. As a result of our state's extremely complex and tangled web of laws, we have been forced to pause abortion services at Planned Parenthood clinics in Arizona. we're working diligently with our lawyers to untangle the conflicting laws and ensure our patients know what their legal rights are and how to access legal abortion care. We know that criminalizing abortion will not reduce the human need for abortion or this essential healthcare service. It will simply force people to flee their communities to try to obtain care or force them to carry unintended pregnancies to term. We also know that banning abortion just serves to further our country's legacy of racism and discrimination, because abortion bans will have the greatest impact on Black, Indigenous, and Latino communities, poor communities, rural communities, and young people. As a woman of color, I know that what our communities need in this moment to attain equity in health and in life is more access to health care, not less.
That's right.
And thank you. And the last thing that we need is criminalization for making our own personal decisions about our bodies, our lives, and our futures. We are at a historic moment. We have never before lost a constitutional right in this country until right now. This is a truly heartbreaking moment for all people in Arizona and across our country, but this moment will not break us. I am treating this moment as the ultimate rallying cry to fight for my rights, to fight for my daughter's rights, to fight for the rights of Planned Parenthood patients, to fight for the rights of all Arizonans, to make sure that we are able to achieve reproductive freedom for every person, no matter what. The stakes have never been higher. Our reproductive freedom is on the line, and Planned Parenthood will not back down. We will always be here for our patients and our providers, fighting every step of the way to make sure they receive and can provide the essential sexual and reproductive health care they need and deserve. Thank you.
I have a quick question, Brittany, as long as you're up there. The underlying Arizona law, 133603, does have an exception in the case of the life of the mother. Will Planned Parenthood continue to perform abortions in cases where the life of the mother is in danger?
Right now, because we understand that there is no clarity in terms of the legal landscape, whether it is the pre-row bans that you're referencing, whether it is the 15-week ban, whether it is the plethora of other bans that are still on the books, we are pausing all abortion services until we have clarity about what is legal here in Arizona. And when that becomes clear, we will be able to make a determination about whether or not we resume abortion services.
Brittany, about how many abortion services appointments do you think are canceled?
I know that today alone in one of our health centers, we were set to serve over 30 patients, and this was just in one health center. And we had to turn 30 people away who were coming to us for health care. I am devastated that we were not able to serve them. And I'm devastated that the Supreme Court and politicians have left patients without access to critical health care. And I know that that's just the beginning. There are 13,000 patients annually that receive abortion care in Arizona. Those patients and their needs don't disappear because the Supreme Court made a horrendous decision today. Those patients will absolutely still need care.
How does this affect the 1973 injunction?
Our legal position is that the injunction is still in effect. The state would have to act to lift the injunction in order to enforce the pre-row bans from 1901. I also want to make it really clear that these pre-row bans are from 1901. They are before Arizona was even a state. They were actually designed to make Arizona seem more palatable in its quest to become part of the union. And what did people do to make Arizona seem less like the Wild West and more like a palatable state option? Limit people's reproductive access and options. And so what we are dealing with now is a century-old pre-row draconian ban. It does not in any stretch of the imagination address what the vast majority of Arizonans think about abortion or feel about abortion. This is a healthcare service, it's a human right, and it's something that the vast majority of Arizonans support.
Planned Parenthood could support institutions who want to go to other states to get that type of service, or?
We will be providing our patients with information so that they are able to understand all of their legal options, including their options in states where abortion remains legal. Thank you.
I'd like to say one more thing. I find it very ironic that over the last 18 months, we've had Republicans of all stripes pounding tables, standing on desks, demonstrating about their freedom, the health care, and the fact that the state shouldn't be able to tell them to wear masks. Yet these same politicians want to tell women how to control their bodies.
Right?
That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we're available for one-on-ones if needed, but thank you everybody for coming, and let's go Sunny Die.
On June 24, 2022, more than 1,000 pro-choice protesters gathered on the lawn outside of the House and Senate and marched around downtown Phoenix. At about 8 p.m., extremely loud chanting began to echo around the Capitol buildings. Protesters knew the legislature was in session. Inside, the chants of "My body, my choice" were thunderous. Some protesters started banging on the glass doors of the Senate entrance with their hands. Others continued to chant, "My body, my choice." 6 hours after this press conference, Arizona Department of Public Safety officers fired tear gas into the unarmed crowd of men, women, and children from a sniper's perch on the top of the old Capitol building. From my office, I heard 20 minutes of loud chanting, followed by 2 or 3 ear-splitting explosions. Protesters, screaming in terror, raced past my window in the darkness. On June 24, 2022, Arizona women not only lost the 50-year constitutional right to abortion, they lost freedom of speech and the right to protest repressive laws. This is not what democracy looks like.
Abortion is a right. We won't give up this fight. Abortion is a right. We won't give up this fight.